Président du Conseil mondial de l'eau, qui va s'adresser donc à nous ici à Dakar
Dakar, but also address himself to our participants in Dakar and share the perspectives and speak of the development prospects. Mr. Fauchon, the microphone is yours. Hello, everyone, and hello, Dubai. Good morning. I'm very happy to see that this connection is working. I was a few weeks ago in Dubai to visit Expo 2020, and I can't recommend you enough to go because it will close. It will be the end of it in a couple of days, but I must admit it's an extraordinary World Expo. Very happy to be here with you today and to share a few words on this topic, or more precisely, to put this subject in the context of the World Water Council and all the work that is done at the Dakar Forum. Last Monday, during the opening of the forum, I mentioned that we had 4 major obligations. The first one is to ensure water security and security of its resource, the actual water resource. Like I said in another event earlier this morning, if we are not capable to ensure the security of the water's resources, whether conventional or not, humanity will fail and humanity will die. There are 2 topics that condition one another: water and air. Do not forget the air, because too many large cities today, and in Dakar you can feel it and you can see it, and in other cities as well, are facing a lot of issues with air pollution. And there is a strong link in between water pollution and air pollution, on which the World Water Council will be working on. We need to mobilize all the necessary resources without going against nature, because there are resources that we need to use with greater precautions, especially the Great Saharan naps, and we need to be careful with those too. Also, in terms of innovation, we need to consume less and consume better. And innovation must also speak of how we will use used waters or water wastes. I know that there is a topic regarding the utilization of water and the reutilization of water in the agricultural sector. There will be a large possibility to mobilize water for tomorrow's food. I will not take too much of your time, and I will allow the other participants to speak too, but I would like to tell you that the World Water Council has a strong will, and there is a strong link in between innovation and water resources that we need to save. It is a subject that is of high importance for us, and we will carry it during the next 2 years through a lot of very important meetings, because we will be meeting at the conference of Dushanbe, which is a preparatory meeting to the New York meeting in 2023. Why are we doing this? Because for the second time in the history of the United Nations, there is one special conference that will be fully dedicated to water, and that hasn't happened since 1977. So your duty as members of the water community is to take this responsibility and bring answers who will turn into actions. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you very much, Mr. President Fauchon, for giving us your time. I know you are extremely busy during this forum. And before giving the microphone to our first participants, I believe we have a video from the Minister of Morocco. Can we play the video, please?
نرحب بكم ونقول لكم مرحبا بكم في هذا اللقاء الثنائي حول إشكالية الماء. وفي هذا الإطار ينبغي التأكيد على أن المغرب والمملكة المغربية أعطى قيمة كبيرة لإشكاليات الماء، وذلك من خلال وضع سياسة محكمة في مجال الماء من طرف جلالة الملك الحسن الثاني رحمه الله بسياسة السدود والسقي، وجلالة الملك محمد السادس أيده الله في إطار توسيع هذه السياسة إلى عدة مجالات، خصوصا أن بلادنا كما تعلمون فهي تعاني من إشكالية ندرة المياه وناتجة عن التغيرات المناخية، وظهر ذلك من خلال تراجع الواردات المائية في بلادنا، وكذلك من خلال ارتفاع درجات الحرارة. ومن أجل مواجهة هذه التحديات فتم وضع سياسة محكمة في هذا المجال ترتكز على 5 ركائز. الركيزة الأولى وهو تعبئة الإمكانيات المائية السطحية، وفي هذا الإطار فتم بناء أكثر من 146 سد تعبئ أكثر من 22 مليار متر مكعب، وكذلك هنالك أعمال مهمة نقوم بها في هذا الإطار من أجل تعبئة كل هذه المياه السطحية. الركيزة الثانية وهو القيام بتعبئة كذلك إمكانيات مائية بديلة من خلال تحلية المياه، ومن خلال كذلك العمل على تقوية كل الإمكانيات البديلة المتاحة من خلال معالجة المياه السطحية واستعمالها، وكذلك من خلال الحفاظ على المياه الجوفية. وفي هذا الإطار فيمكن القول بأن بلادنا فهي استطاعت أن تقوم بإحداث 10 محطات من تحلية المياه، وأطلقنا مؤخرا أكبر محطة تحلية المياه في بلادنا وهي في مدينة الدار البيضاء بتعبئة 300 مليون متر مكعب. ومن جهة أخرى وهي الركيزة الثالثة في هذه الاستراتيجية وهي كذلك العمل على الاقتصاد في الماء والتحكم في الطلب. وهذا الأمر فهو قمنا به في مجال الزراعي من خلال العمل على السقي بالتنقيط في 700 ألف إكتار من أصل 2 مليون إكتار اللي هي اليوم مسقية في بلادنا، وسنصل إلى 1 مليون إكتار في أفق سنة 2027. من جهة أخرى كذلك تم تحسين مردودية القنوات والعمل كذلك على الربط ما بين الأحواض المائية من أجل أن يكون هنالك تدبير عقلاني للماء. وهنالك الركيزة الرابعة وهو الحكامة، وفي هذا الإطار فتم إحداث المجلس الأعلى للمياه الذي يترأس جلالة الملك محمد السادس أيده الله، وهنالك كذلك وكالة الأحواض المائية التي تقوم بالتدبير المندمج للماء بكيفية تشاركية مع كل الفاعلين المعنيين بهذا المجال، في مجال لا بالنسبة للفلاحة ولا بالنسبة للمنتخبين ولا بالنسبة كذلك للقطاعات الإنتاجية الأخرى من صناعة وسياحة وكذلك طاقة. وفي نفس الوقت كذلك تم التركيز في مجال الحكامة على العمل على البعد الاستشرافي من خلال وضع مخطط وطني للماء في أفق سنة 2050. وأخيرا كنقطة خامسة وهي أساسية وهو العمل كذلك على أمر مهم وهو تحسيس من أجل الاقتصاد في الماء، وكذلك من أجل جعل أن المواطنات والمواطنين وكذلك الفاعلين الاقتصاديين يلعبوا أدوار أساسية من أجل الاقتصاد في الماء وعقلنة استغلال الماء، خصوصا من أجل تجاوز إشكالية الاستغلال المفرط للمياه الجوفية. وفي هذا الإطار تم العديد من العقود فرشة من أجل مواجهة هذه الإشكالية والعمل على التدبير المعقلا للإمكانيات المائية الموجودة بتوزيع عادل ومنصف للحقوق للماء. وأخيرا لا يمكنني إلا أن أؤكد بأن هذه الفرصة فهي فرصة كذلك لكي نتقاسم معا التجارب الناجحة، وخصوصا مع دولة الإمارات الشقيقة التي لها كذلك تجارب جد ناجحة في هذا المجال، ويمكننا بالطبع أن نتبادل التجارب وأن نعمل معا في إطار التعاون العربي وكذلك في إطار التعاون جنوب. شكرا لكم.
Thank you very much, Minister Isa Baraka. It is true there was no interpretation for our French participants or English. Unfortunately, it was mainly dealt to Dubai participants who we hope have understood everything that was said. But very briefly, I'm going to reiterate the key messages of Mr. Minister. Minister has put forward the 4 major pillars of Moroccan strategy. First of all is mobilizing the superficial resources with putting in place the dams that was successful in Morocco. Second axis was mobilizing non-conventional resources with the desalination of seawater. And the minister already announced the new Casablanca station that will allow to secure 300 million cubic meters per year. And this was launched a few days ago. The third axis Mr. Minister mentioned, he spoke of the necessity to maintain and preserve the underland waters. Third of all, we speak of the economy of water in all sectors, but moreover in agricultural sectors and drinkable water as well. The fourth axis is the right to governance. Obviously, we need to put in place in Morocco through the Superior Council that is presided by His Majesty the King, and also put in place the right basin that will put in place the right management of water resources in between different actors, whether it be for agriculture, industry, energy, and all other sectors that strongly use water resources. Then there is also this vision, the long-term vision with National Water Economy Plan of 2050. The minister also insisted on the necessity to raise awareness on saving water for all inhabitants and also use water in a rational manner. He invited, moreover, the United Arab Emirates and all participants, but also all actors in the water industry to gather, cooperate and collaborate with the Moroccan Kingdom in this topic, whether it be through a bilateral agreement or a collaboration, maybe through the Arab world, where we would bring together all collaborators and partners of the international community. Once again, thank you very much, Minister and President Loïc Fauchon. And I believe that now we can dive in the subject and in the presentations. The first presentation will be given in Dubai, and it will be done by Madam Zainab Filali, who is the head of division and planification at the direction of planification of water of the General Direction of Hydraulic of the Ministry of Equipment and Water. Madam Filali will present to us the national program of drinking water supply and an irrigation program of 2020 to 2027. Madam Filali, the microphone is yours. Please respect the presentation and the time that is allocated to you, and forgive us for the delay, but we would like everybody to have the time to do their presentation. The microphone is yours, madam. Thank you very much, Madam Qasimi. I would like to, first of all, thank all the organizers on this wonderful occasion and for allowing me to speak of our national drinking water supply program and irrigation program, a strategy that was supported by the government of Morocco to face and to fight against the scarcity of water resources. So I'm going to do my best to respect the time that was allocated to us. Very quickly, I would like to say that the water resources are quite limited in Morocco. We have approximately 620 cubic meters per inhabitants per year. We have strong irregularities in time and space, which is a major constraint for all operators of the water industry in Morocco. And the situation is becoming worse through the years and provoking a strong vulnerability due to climate change. But it is also important to highlight that despite these constraints, Morocco has managed to ensure the water security in the country, which was a difficulty, but we have managed. Nevertheless, since 2015, we have seen a lesser water supply in the country. We can see that there are critical waters since 2015 with a negative impact on the dam reserves and the groundwater levels. We have only reached a filling of the dam reserves of 34% comparatively to last year, which was disturbing the drinking water supply and provoking restrictions on water and irrigation services. Facing the situation and following the royal instructions, there is a national program that was prepared, the PNA-EPI, and a signing ceremony of a framework of agreement for the implementation of this program was signed. The investment amounts to 150 billion Moroccan dirhams. To present this program in a few words, it is a program that was created in a concerted and integrated manner. It outlines a roadmap for all stakeholders in the water sector over a period of 2027 for a better convergence of public policies. And all the participants within this industry. Furthermore, this program aims to accelerate the investments in the water sector to provide a structural and sustainable solution to build resilience to climate change and its impact on water resources. And finally, a program that embodies and allows us to provide adjustments and embody the notion of dynamic and adaptive planning for climate change. What is the consistency of this program? It turns around 5 major axes. The first one being the development of water supply, starting with the follow-up on the policy of creation of large dams, but also following the interconnections between hydraulic systems, which will provide flexibility on water supply facilities. 2 major projects of interconnections are currently under study, and another project that is interconnecting the major basins of Morocco will be launched next year. Also, we will continue and accelerate the construction of small dams for the local development in order to provide solutions on a local level for the entire population, mostly for the rural populations and the most vulnerable ones who are suffering from climate change, but also those facing community difficulties. The fourth one concerns the reuse of wastewater and desalinated water. We are working on different areas, we need to ensure that there is drinkable water that is there not only for consumption but for irrigation as well. In Casablanca, we have launched a first plan in partnership with a major distributor, and in the northern Morocco there is another area that is under construction. In parallel to that, using the land waters and desalination of seawater, there is a major work for all underlying waters. We have difficulties providing solutions to that, but all these actions of mobilizing waters will be reinforced and strengthened by everything that is related to equipment ORP, which is provided by the main producer and distributor of drinking water, which is ONI. And we will be welcoming further presentations later on. The second axis of this program concerns the management of demand of water and the water saving and the water reclamation. Through two major interventions, we will be saving drinking industrial and tourist water by improving the efficiency of distribution facilities and increasing the autonomy of the reserve, but also saving irrigation water by converting to localized irrigation, modernizing and rehabilitating multi-purpose water supply system, implementing hydro-agricultural development programs. The third axis concerns the reutilization or the reuse of wastewater, especially for the watering of golf courses. There is a great willingness to accelerate this project, especially after the adoption of a national program to focus on the reuse of wastewater. The 2027 program focuses on the recycling of the waters for not only the Gulfs, but also all green areas. Currently, approximately 20 golf courses are already signed up for it and will be watered through these waters from now until 2027. The fourth axis is a very important one too. It concerns the strengthening of rural drinking water supply. According to the different studies that were developed by the different stakeholders, the provisioning of drinking water in Morocco remain quite vulnerable to climate change. So the current philosophy is to provide a structural system and ensure that the rural population remain connected to water projects that will be more resilient to change. The last axis concerns the communication and awareness raising, whether it be institutional for the different stakeholders of the sector, other ministries or public establishments, but also for the general public, especially when it comes to changing their behavior to water consumption. This year, in 2022, since the beginning of the year, we have created great steps in this endeavor, and we hope that during this program there will be a more in-depth presentation on this topic. Just to conclude, Morocco wants to put in plan a national program for the provisioning of drinkable water and irrigation, and this is only the first step of a national program 2050 that will provide a lot more interesting and global solutions in 2050. And let us hope on another occasion we will have the opportunity to speak more of this. Madame Filale, could you please conclude your presentation? Absolutely. I thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you very much, Madame Filale, for this wonderful presentation on the importance that Morocco has provided on the dynamic and strategic planification, especially considering all the requirements of the sector. Without further ado, we're going to welcome our second speaker, who will present the experience of the Kingdom of Morocco when it comes to desalination of the water and the demineralization of the brackish water. We will be welcoming Mr. Shabab, who is the head of South Development Service at the Technical and Engineering Directorate of ONI Water Branch, Morocco. Please take your 10 minutes, Mr. Shabab. Hello, good afternoon. So as it was said by the Minister and the President of the World Water Forum, Morocco suffers from a great dry and drought that the world has encountered. So a solution that the office is trying to develop, we try to mobilize other resources, non-conventional resources, which are also the desalination of waters and the demineralization of our brackish water. A smaller presentation on the desalination of the water. There are two technologies. There is either the distillation or the other technologies of the briners, which are also following the electrodialyze. The technology that was chosen by the office was the reverse osmosis process, which was competitive for the implementation in terms of cost and was also more efficient for Morocco. In order to do so, each project must go through different steps in order to optimize the chosen solution. Let me mention the different feasibility studies, but also the detailed studies that were confirmed by complementary studies, like, for example, the different analysis and diagnostics of the water companies, but also geophysical and bathymetry studies. These different studies will allow us to choose the best solution to provide, considering the different conditions of the sites selected, but also a way to optimize the costs, especially the costs of energy and of operating. The office on this subject, the National Office of Electricity and Drinkable Water, has currently 19 different desalination stations going and producing 300,000 cubic meters of water per day. We have an experience of over 45 years of data where the office has managed to go through different phases of optimization and testings. We have tried to test different solutions like a distillation, and then we went through the optimization phase. When we decided to choose this optimal solution for Morocco, we have introduced innovative solutions. And finally, we decided to go through the mastering phase, where we tried to generalize this solution towards other regions of Morocco, trying to solve the problem of supply of water in the different regions. Now, some of the challenges we've faced can be mentioned here. For example, the station of Bourjdour, which is one of the few stations that was developed, we've had a problem when it came to the passage of the technology of the ESMOs. And we went through 4 steps in 1995, 2005, 2011, and 2016. The second case is the case of Tantan, which is a quite unique area, because the main constraints were the change in raw groundwater quality and the dynamic of the groundwater level, which were way beyond what we could expect. For example, we had presence of ammonium, iron, and the salinization that was treated. A third case that was quite unique was the case of the station of Dakhla. Here we had the raw groundwater from the fossil aquifer with a quality exceeding potability standards. And here, with the inverse osmosis, we were treating ammonium, sulfur, and salinization. The last station that was put in place by the office was the one from Agadir, which was the fruit of a public-private partnership. This was a project that was shared between the National Office of Electricity and Drinking Water and the Ministry of Agriculture. This station will allow us to produce 275,000 cubic meters of waters per day, and we have 250,000 cubic meters of water for drinking waters and 200,000 cubic meters per day for irrigation waters. On a short term, we have projects underway, for example, the station of El Ayoun, with a capacity of 26,000 cubic meters per day. It will be launched very soon. Also, to respond to the very high demand, only developed by 3, its capacity going to 1 million cubic meters per day. We expect to reach that objective by 2030, and using our new innovation and technology that will help us treat water, whether it be the used waters or the seawater. Another great project of Great Casablanca that will produce 300 cubic meters per day. To conclude, desalination is an alternative project for producing drinking water, but it also helped Morocco develop a water strategy that includes the development of non-conventional waters. And we have put this together with the renewable energy projects, helping us to reduce our energy consumptions, which is equal to 40% of our operational costs for desalination of the plants. Another, we know that water needs to be provided to everyone, but it is our duty to provide the right service to everyone too. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Shabab, for your excellent presentation that was focused on all the solutions put in place by Morocco to mobilize all non-conventional waters to respond to the high demand, notably the desalination of waters and the briny waters, and those efforts to optimize the desalinated cubic meters of waters and bringing them together with your renewable energies. Thank you for respecting the time that was allocated to you, and I will be asking that to the all other interventions. And we will now be welcoming our next speaker, who is based in Dakar. We will be welcoming Mr. Ben Dahman Ben Mahmoud, who is Head of Services, Planification and Securitization for Drinking Water at the Department of Local Public Networks at the Ministry of Interior in Morocco. Mr. Mahmoud will present to us the experience of Morocco in providing drinking water to rural populations. The microphone is yours. Thank you very much, Madam Qasmi. My presentation is entitled A Brief Overview of the Moroccan Experience in Providing Drinking Water to Rural Populations. Next slide, please. In this presentation, you will see the following points: the administrative organization of the kingdom, the institutional and legislative framework, the situation of water in rural areas, and the different programs and perspectives from 22 to 27. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. When it comes to the administrative organization in the kingdom, we can say that in Morocco, we have 1,490 different communities, 12 regions, 75 provinces, and 1,500 municipalities. Our legal persons governed by the public law manage their affairs democratically. The regional and territorial organizations is based on the principles of self-government, cooperation, and solidarity. They have the possibility to form groupings with a view to pooling resources and programs, and they have their own competencies, shared with the states, and those that are and can be transferred to them by the state. With regards to the water institutional framework, we can see the different instances of consultation, for example, the Superior Council of Water and Climate, the instances of coordination, for example, the Interministerial Commission for Water, the different government authorities like the Ministry of Interior for the handling and planification of water and regulation, the public establishments and the water consumers like the Department of Agriculture and all the distribution networks and the private consumers. And finally, the different instances of decentralized management systems like the Hydraulic Basin Council and the different agencies. Next slide, please. With regards to the regulatory and legislative framework, the Organic Law number 111/14 considers the development of a regional strategy, a water saving strategy, and the generalization of the drinking water supply and preservation of water resources. The Organic Law number 112/14 on prefectures and provinces concerns the contribution to the supply of drinking water to the rural world and the preservation and the construction of maintenance of small and medium-sized hydraulic works, particularly in rural areas. The Organic Law number 113/14 plans the creation of management of local public services, particularly drinking water, and the safe waterways and drinking waters, but also the protection and control of water points intended for public consumption. Next slide, please. We also mention the Law 36/15 on water that plans that the presidents of the regional councils, members of the Climate Security Council, and gathers with the ABH boards, the regional councils, and the provinces and prefectures. Mention the representative of all prefectural and provincial councils, all the members of the Hydraulic Basin Council, and the prefectural or provincial water commission. They also nominate a representative of the communal council, member of the prefectural and provincial water commission. Considering the situation of the rural area, we need to say that the evolution of the rural population, following a study that was done in 2020, represents 13,168 people that are in the rural areas and distributed in thousands of different small villages, and this number will reduce in the coming years, reaching our objective to 2050. Following the results of the study that was done by the APR, we think that 14,185 douars will be provided in water, 7,737 douars will be provided fountains, and 7,737 douars will have a mixed water supply. Overall, 9,409 douars will have an alternative water supply system. What are the constraints? So it's the scattered settlements, recurrent droughts, insufficient or no existing resources, and the high investments and management costs. The multiplicity of stakeholders in the field of water distribution. Next slide, please. Let us see the different program and perspectives. In 1995, the date where the widespread access was provided, we developed a program called PAGER, which provided water in the rural areas. And this program was developed in a partnership with the local collectivities, ONI, and the local authorities providing water. This, we have reached 1.8 in 2020. And we have reached 1 billion once we passed 2020. The rate of access went from 14% to 1995 to 97.8% in 2020. Next slide, please. In order to strengthen the resilience of our countries towards a climate change, a national program for irrigation of water for the year 2020-27 has been prepared, and its execution was signed. This program aims the acceleration of different investments. This program demonstrates the acceleration of investments in the water sector. There will be 5 axes: the provision of waters, management of demand for an amount of 25 million dirhams, the strengthening of water in rural centers for an amount of 26 million dirhams, and water supply indoors by developing water points, and the communication and awareness for an amount of 50 million dirhams. This program is based on a partnership between the Department of Finance, of Water, Agriculture, and ONI. Its funding is scheduled as as follows. There will be a percentage from ONI distribution and another percentage from the public-private partnership. When it comes to the details of the strengthening of the program 22-24, we can see that there are different rural centers who will be benefiting from this program, where we will be saving 160 centers, and the Ministry of Interior and Territories will be participating at 119,000 doors. The different access. The program to access the douars are the sub-program gathering 5,818 douars. Let me conclude, please, on the 2022 and 2024 programs from the complementary programs of the Ministry of Interior that plans 1,537 douars for a population that will benefit of all the water supplies by douars, by structural projects, and this will be benefiting 472,947 individuals at a cost of 2,413 million dirhams. The water supply to douars by developing the water points will benefit 863 douars, gathering 197,000 people and 592 million dirhams. This was the end of my presentation, and I thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Mahfouz. It was an excellent explanation and an excellent presentation from the Kingdom of Morocco that managed to provide the general access of water in rural areas from 14% to 98% today. Donc, without further ado, I would like to now give the microphone to Michel Nabaidjan, who will also be speaking from Dakar. Mr. Nalbadian is the general manager of Eau de Marseille in Morocco. He's going to speak to us about the new contracts and the new techniques of research in Morocco. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Asma, for the kind introduction. I'm going to start speaking about the company Eau de Marseille, Maroc. Our presence in Morocco since over 30 years in Morocco, Eau Marseille, Maroc, is a fruit of a transfer of competencies. There is the money, but there is also the human capacity. We have decided to move to Morocco in order to develop the competencies in Morocco with different engineers and Moroccan technicians. Morocco has welcomed through 30 years a lot of technicians in Morocco to build on different infrastructures, and Eau de Marseille gathered a lot of experts to train a few agents that we had recruited in order to build a very strong team of 120 people. We have gathered 2 million euros, 2.4 million euros of turnover. We have developed an expertise in operational engineering, an audit of assisting and improving yields, maintenance of drinking water facilities. We have very important numbers in our activities. We have realized 12,000 kilometers of network swept per year, which allowed our clients to save 12 million cubic meters of drinking water per year. We also have a subsidiary, which is Sommeil Morocco, which handles the digitalization of drinking water services. And we have put in place a tool called WattERP for the commercial information system of over 2 million consumers in Morocco. And our customers are part of Engie Water Division and public authorities and delegated aids. Next slide, please. ONI is one of the main partners of Eau de Marseille, Maroc. They have put in place a program at the beginning of the year 2000 that led to the elaboration of a lot of programs to improve the rehabilitation and the instrumentalization of different networks. And the city of Khouribga was one of the main cities that led the project. The project was achieved in 2017. The turnovers were very important, from 70 to 80%, but we realized that after 2-3 years, we fell down to 70%. And so the solution that we were offering was not just an investment, but the operations, the maintenance, and developing of human capital for daily provision. With the direction of l'ONE, we decided to launch new contract models and find out new leaks. So back then, they were basing themselves on inspected linears, so on kilometers that we were seeking and looking out. This was a new project gathering all the service providers and the handling of the works, notably in research, maintenance, but also developing the new networks and the counters, and the installation of all the machines. And this was remunerated on the volumes that we were winning. So it was no longer built on a network, a metric network, but a capacity. So from the beginning of the contract, where we were at minus 25% on the leaks converted per night, we reached an improvement of minus 35%. Next slide, please. In August 2021, we put in place, we won the contract, but I mean, of course, there are other projects in Morocco of the same style, but we put in place 1 project manager, 4 leak detection teams, 4 work teams, 1 engineering team that were based in Khouribga for about 4 months. And for the work teams and the leak detection teams, they will be setting up for 5 years. We have put in place all the necessary equipment, prelocator, correlation, noise amplifiers. And we also put in place the right vehicles, work equipment, and spare parts. From the first month, we put in place the mapping in order to understand managed to put in place a proper research and reparation of all the leaks and engagement of the results. During the first month of the contract, there was an update of the GIS, the flow, the pressure measurement campaign, and we also put in place the diagnosis of the hydraulic functioning, but we wanted to provide an added value. We were not just a company that was going to do some word works, but we were actually going to think about it and see how we were going to work on it in partnership with the local teams. A few numbers, if I may. So the entire zone inspected, you have to understand that Khouribga is 284,000 kilometers, 200 million inhabitants, 62,000 consumers, not a small city, and we were the main partners of UNI. We managed to inspect very quickly 2 times the networks in a small gap of 6 months. You can see the green curve that it shows the space that was inspected. We also managed to detect 400 leaks that were quite invisible to almost just 35 leaks on the 6th month. So we managed to eradicate all the leaks practically on the city of Khouribga, which allowed us, if you'll see on my next slide, to see that in just 3 days we have had very important milestones. So during the night, at least we saw that on August 21st, 2021, we had a consumption of 580 cubic meters per hour. In November 21st, 2021, we went down to 365 cubic meters per hour. That was a less of minus 37%. And on the third level, we went down to minus 44%. So we gained 360 million cubic meters. Here again, you can see that in red and green, there is the visible and invisible leaks. The visible ones are the ones that have been raised and spoken of by all the members. We managed to improve our client service, and we have also responded to the needs of our members. And if you look at all the works that we have done, this is all the leaks that we have found, which are mainly niched, but a lot of reparations were done and maintenance work were done also to repair the leaks. In 1 year, we managed to gain 11 points. I'm saying in 1 year because we compared the last Q4 in 2021 to Q4 in 2020. We went from 0 to 90%. So if we have any investors here or any donors, you can see that the ROI is quite important and a lot of savings were made. Asma, I know you want me to end my presentation, but if you'll allow me my last slide. This demonstrates the pressure on the network. This is the number of complaints that reduced. I was saying about it. This is the pressure that has increased when you can see that approximately around 12 o'clock in peak hours, we had a very weak pressure, but now we can see that there is a very strong pressure available. Next slide. This is a slide that gathers my feedback on this project that demonstrates that on these projects we can win a lot of money through these projects because we will be saving a lot of water. Let me share with you a few numbers. In the Mediterranean, we are seeking 4 billion cubic meters of loss, which equals the production of 120 desalination stations, and equal to what the project we were talking about in Morocco. So on an operational level, it's a huge investment project that can be led. I believe I have to stop right here, but I thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you very much, Michel. Forgive me. I believe that you have really put the point on something that is very important. The savings that we can make when it comes to the raising of performance are necessary. And this experience shared of Khouribga is not only the new model that is oriented on results where we can all win, but when we can see these figures and numbers that you have achieved in 1 year, I believe that this really pushes us to commit more in these techniques. Our next speaker is Mr. Assaoui, who comes from LIDEC in Casablanca and who will speak to us about a very engaged public-private partnership to speak of water resources. Thank you very much, Madame Qassimi. I would like to thank you all for the quality of the organization of this event and for giving me the opportunity to share with you the experience of LIDEC. At IDEC, we have tried to benefit of the data networks and the intelligence of the digitalization to try and put it at the service of the water management and the context of resource scarcity. We're going to talk about drinkable water through a tool called AquAdvance, which is a tool that steers performance. Next slide, please. Here you can see our prerequisites in order to use the tool. We are going to, let me speak of them very quickly. Let us talk about the issues and objectives. Here it is necessary to ensure a continuity of the service, preserve the water resources, and guarantee a better quality of service. It goes without saying that the main objective is to optimize the costs of maintenance, investments, and viability through a good management of these networks. These are the prerequisites. The prerequisites that we have put in place. This is what we have decided to do for IDEC. We went through a sectorization of the 5,000 kilometers that we have of drinkable water. So these are different sectors that can go from 8 kilometers to 80 kilometers, because we need to equip the right network of pressure sensors in order to capture the different leaks. We also put in place a management system in order to manage the pressure of the system and the network. We have reached out a network of 70 kilometers, which are modulated, and obviously the smart metering, so that all the strategic sectors that are fed from the hydraulic system in Casablanca are captured. All data are captured in real life and benefit from a monitoring system called the Aqua Advance. And from there, we will see in detail the different monitoring and management of those data. But if you will please just see the next slides quickly. Looking at it per theme, again, I'm going to try and go slow, but this presentation will be shared with you. And I believe that it will be shared with everybody. This is what we have done to sectorize all the networks. And the choice of MAI, when we say that there is a MAI of 10 kilometers or 80 kilometers, we're talking about the networks that are either fragile, and the more the network is new, we're going to go towards 80 or 100 kilometers of MAIs. Next slide, please. Let me show you the system of research to find those leaks. So we have different systems. These are the networks for the different networks, different sensors to find them. They are accompanied by different research teams who are either manual or sonars. We have different teams in place in Casablanca. We're also accompanied by 2,500 sensors positioned at the different network points in Casablanca. We also work on a new innovative product called the SmartBond. We have put in place a smart ball, which is connected. And this ball will follow the distribution of the fibers and detect on its way the different leaks that we can find for us to repair. We also have a new management of pressure waters, which helps us modulate. This is a new solution that we put in place very recently. It is a new dynamic intelligence system. At night, for instance, so we tend to suck less on those networks, and we reduce to the minimum the pressure on the network in order to avoid any loss of waters, because there are always physical losses. In order to help the water flow, if there is too much pressure, it makes all the networks grow old. What we have put in place is that we have provided these different relay products for the 200 clients that are in the water network in Casablanca, and all the hydraulic systems depend on the strategic networks of Casablanca. And here we can see the actual tool. Please, if you can demonstrate the tool on my slides, I would like to show the public the actual tool that is used. Please continue to reach the tool. Once all this is used on the system of Aqua Advance, we have in real time different pressures that are brought up, which allows us also to monitor and manage the performance of the network. There is a production of that report that is done on real time. We can see the different indicators that are distributed on a sector where we see that there is a loss in pressure. We also see that it can be a leak. On a different sector, if there hasn't been any leakage or breakage and the network is healthy, we can see that on that network, if ever we can find a leak, it is necessary that we highlight it. We also need to separate the commercial performance and the mechanical performance. We need to see what is potentially a fraud and what is a maintenance requirement. This is the tool that we have used, and I invite all those who are interested to learn more about this product to come and meet us in Casablanca. We have a welcoming center at the ONI office in Casablanca where I can share with you all the data that I have shared here today, and we can talk about it even more. Thank you for your kind attention and for the invitation. Thank you very much, Mr. Azawi. I believe it was also an excellent presentation on how we can improve the performance following the different techniques, and not only on a technical aspect, but also on a commercial aspect. And I join my colleague to where I invite you all to Casablanca to come and see all that has been realized and has been created. We're going to connect with Dubai now because we have a last presentation that will speak of awareness. I believe, without further ado, I would like to give the microphone to Mr. Zakaria El Gertet, Acting Head of Awareness Division at the Technical and Engineering Directorate of ONI Water Branch, who will be presenting from Dubai and who will tell us how ONI will mobilize the digital tools as an innovative tool for the behavioral change in saving water. Mr. Zakaria, the microphone is yours. Thank you very much, Madame Qasmi. Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. It is a real pleasure for me to be here with you today to share with you the expertise of ONI when it comes to raising awareness, especially in the digital world. The digital tool, which is a very important tool, especially in the current context, and moreover, specifically in Morocco. Without further ado, we are going to raise a question. Why raise awareness about water saving? And then we will go through a short presentation on awareness to ONI. I will present to ONI. Then, considering the importance of digital in our era, we will see its place and how we can use it to our advantage. And finally, we will see a few case studies using this tool in order to change the behavior of water consumers. Why water saving awareness? Like you know, all water is a vital resource and necessary to human life. It is a means to security and safety and peace for nations. It is also a leverage for economies. But like you know, with the climate change that we are all facing, a lot of countries are facing water stress. Therefore, there is a requirement to raise awareness for water consumers to save on water consumption and preserve it. This is why ONI, a pioneer in water saving awareness, decided to commit to this since the 1980s, following the first drought. And they have always developed different awareness campaigns carried out since the 80s using media tools and organizing different broadcasts, special broadcasts, or using TV and radio spots. Also, they have developed public posters and press releases on this specific thematic. They have also used other tools, which are non-media tools, using communication of proximity, where we reach out to populations directly through different exhibitions, organizations of fairs, clean beach programs, where they commit, for example, the different program 2027, or through clean beaches or educational programs in schools, but also for the protection of environment, where the office can put a complete awareness plan during the summer months. Also, the office organizes different open days and invite the public to visit its museum entitled The Spirit of Water, to raise awareness towards students and youth when it comes to the moderate utilization of the water resources and prevent pollution. They also organize door-to-door campaigns to raise awareness on this theme. The office used this campaign on awareness to accompany different programs like the Pagère APNA, like our colleague from the Ministry of Interior mentioned, or the different national programs to explain to the population and educate the population in not polluting waters and saving water consumptions. But in the digital age where everyone is connected, it has become crucial to mobilize not only the classical tools, but these extraordinary tools like the digital world that will change behavior consumption. For instance, if we take Morocco as an example, you will see that we have in Morocco over 37 million inhabitants, and 28.5 million of them are over 13 years of age. We have 27.6 million inhabitants who are already internet users, and over 24 million of them are connected through their mobile devices, and 22 million of them are very active on social media, and people spend approximately 4 hours a day connected on their mobile. It was therefore important to be very present on this new channel, which allows us to reach out to a large population that we could not necessarily reach out to. And here we do it quickly and efficiently. This is why the office decided to seize the opportunity and develop different digital supports material that were distributed through the different platforms. Let me just mention the development of an application called Mouiha, which is a very playful game which has an objective to raise awareness of water consumption for youngsters and youth, and explain how to rationally use water and conserve it and save it against pollution. Many campaigns were developed as well, which are very educative. Campaigns have been distributed on the different digital networks. Furthermore, considering that everyone is on social media, the office is very present on its social media page and publishes on a daily basis content. They also distribute barriers of awareness on the different websites. The office also has a digital portal on the internet and intranet where they spread the word of awareness to reach out to a massive public. So in order to conclude, considering the current context, Mr. Martin Mr. Gerte, please just take 1 minute to conclude. Considering the current situation, it is necessary for us to mobilize and use all the necessary tools available to save water. Raising awareness to all water consumers is a tool like another to reach our objective, especially while using the digital tool, because water is life. And I thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you so much, Ms. Gerte, Mr. Gerte, to have underlined this excellent utilization of the digital tool. On this, we will conclude, and I would like to thank all our presenters who were present with us in Dubai to have shared their wonderful experiences and presentations, and moreover, to have accepted to reduce their speaking time, because we had to give the opportunity to everyone to participate. Thank you very much to all our participants in Dakar as well. Here too, we have the advantage of listening to extraordinary presentations, and may I remind you that these presentations will be made available to everyone, so that we can maybe take more time to see the content of these wonderful presentations. In conclusion, I would like to thank the two Moroccan pavilions, the one in Dakar and the one in Dubai. I believe that this session reflects the capacity of innovation of our dear country in order to manage in parallel two sessions that managed to underline this extraordinary thematic. Thank you to the entire tech team. Thank you to the entire tech team in Dakar, in Dubai. Thank you all for your kind attendance, and I wish you an excellent day ahead.